Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
Yeah.
Eventually, I promise, we're going to get Ethan here.
One of these days.
He actually did want to come over this past weekend, but he got tied up with a whole bunch of stuff. But we do have plans to watch the new Godzilla -1 movie.
Yes.
And I'm so excited about it. Whenever he was busy this weekend, I was like, you son of a bitch. I had my hopes up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're doing this a little bit earlier than we normally do in the week because I'm going to go on a little trip, a little road trip
We'll be indisposed
within the next
in the
couple
Lone
days.
Star State.
Oh, Tejas. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty fun. But, of course, the days that Ethan is off, I'm going to be gone.
Yep.
The following weekend, he's going to be working. So we're going to be,
Right.
who knows.
The planets are going to align soon.
One of these days, we'll make it happen.
At the very least, we don't have to conduct a seance to get him
Exactly.
over here.
But hey, the last time, the thing that, as he had said himself, he's like, Guinness or whiskey is how you get me here. And of course,
I got plenty.
well, not only that, the very next time he came over, or after that episode released, he called me. He's like, I have this idea for this whiskey game for About Nothing. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, have you looked at the comment section for the past few videos? You're being called out, buddy. And he's like, oh yeah. I was like, that's
Right.
all it is. You just need whiskey. It'll
was
summon
fun.
him. It'll summon him hither.
I definitely want to do that again.
Oh, it was so fun, dude. I enjoyed it so much. I listened back to that episode. Man, I'm telling you, dude, I not to toot my own horn, there's a couple
He's
of
about
jokes.
to toot his horn, folks.
Exactly. There are a couple of jokes that both you and I made in that episode. And just jokes all around. But there was one in particular that it made me a little self-conscious how hard I laughed at my own joke.
Oh, God.
I made a little offhanded remark,
Mhm.
and I laughed so hard because I was like, "Damn, that was quick," and I was like, and for me, I think it's showing that like I'm hanging out with these other people, and I'm
Yeah.
hanging out with this crowd that's like helping me, I guess, keeping me on my toes a little bit, and I think it showed in that moment where I was like, I was proud of that one, and not in the moment. In the moment, it felt like it's a little flyby remark, but
Right.
after the fact, I was like, damn. I was like, that's. I caught myself off guard. But
Right.
anyways, enough about that. We because of the fact that I'm going to be out, I had offered Dylan to just sit down and talk with me for a second. I have a couple of stories that I want to talk about, or a couple of things that I would like to mention. But is there anything that before I get off on a tangent and hog all the airtime
This week,
this week?
Space Marine 2
Yep,
releases
exactly.
for me because I pre-ordered.
Because you're special.
I get 4 days early access. And, buddy, I cannot wait. It's killing me.
It's going to release while I'm gone.
Yep.
And I'm kind of, or it's going to release early
If you
access.
pre-order it, right.
And I'm going to pre-order it tonight.
Yeah.
And so
man.
that's going to happen while I'm gone. So I'm probably going to I'm going to join everyone else when it actually releases.
Right.
And I'm like, But the thing is, there's also some like special DLC collectible type stuff that I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. Just
So.
little bonuses here and there.
Right. I'm still going to pre-order it.
I cannot wait to use the Power Fist.
Oh, dude.
The executions for that specifically,
Yeah.
for some of the Tyranids, are easily my favorite.
Looks really cool.
Because I'm already all about bare-knuckle brawling with a fucking Carnifex,
Hell yeah.
tearing its limbs off and then impaling it with said limbs.
Yes.
But the moment I'm able to lift one over my head and
Yes.
physically tear it in half,
Hell yeah.
I'm sold.
I'm here for it.
I was already sold, but when I first saw gameplay for the Power Fist, I was like, well, fuck.
Well, now I'm
Extra sold.
locked in.
More sold. Can I buy it again?
Yeah.
Signs point to yes.
I forgot what, because I haven't played it yet. I've only watched a couple of videos. I don't know what the class, I think it's the Vanguard that has the sword and shield.
Bulwark.
Bulwark.
Yeah.
Oh, close. there's a couple of like executions you can do where you just have the pistol in your shield hand. When I've watched a couple of guys just like do some crazy melees and just like turn over and just like just shoot this guy.
Oh yeah,
like,
everybody can do that.
I know, and but I just like I like the idea of like you have a shield in one hand, a sword, and just like this pistol that you just like whip out and just blast goons for no reason. It's like
It's
hell
perfect.
yeah, and I love that, and I'm excited for it. I like the idea of wielding a gun in your shield hand.
Oh yeah.
I'm just maximizing full firepower.
Extra utility.
Exactly.
Definitely gonna keep with the heavy, just for those big guns and the stomps.
If there's one thing Dylan he's a big gun lover.
I need to be the largest thing in the room.
Yeah.
If I'm not, then I'm not doing my job.
Exactly. I've always been the support. Out of the games that we have played, I've always liked to be the healer or the support character to help boost.
Right.
In the past, I've also been the tank. Whenever I used to play MMOs religiously, I used to either play the healer or the tank. Right. The groups that I was with never had a good tank, so I usually always was pinned as the tank. But I loved the kind of back and forth of being a support / healer character in all the MMOs that I played. And I'm kind of sad.
Nice balance.
I'm sad that you and I haven't had like we've had it in a couple of games. I think I've scratched that itch, but not nearly like I used to back in the day. And I'm kind of sad about that. That like you and I really haven't locked in like that. Or
yeah,
I think you and I'd be a dreadful duo in some raids.
Oh, so, fear not.
I know.
We shall have our opportunities soon.
Hopefully.
I've just been like combing through different gameplay videos and guides on like all the different classes and weapons.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of cool skins for those guns.
Oh yeah. Ugh. Not even skins. Those are like actual different versions of the guns that you can unlock with different stats.
I didn't know that.
Once you do unlock them, you can use them as like separate skins depending on which one you want to have equipped.
Nice.
But man, they're perfect.
I mean, they're really
nice.
Look
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm either going to go with the heavy bolt gun or I might stick towards the Melta.
Really?
It honestly did not fire the way I was expecting it to.
Really?
Yeah, whenever I look at the Melta, that it reminds me of like a las gun.
Right.
But like just larger.
Yeah.
Initially, that's what I thought it was going to be, but no, this thing fires like a ball of fire.
It kind of like lobs it?
Yeah. No, not lobs, just like a wave, like out in front.
Okay.
It's like a heat shotgun. It just melts everything in front of you.
Which one? Isn't there one that I'm thinking of that kind of lobs like these?
Yeah, the plasma cannon.
Plasma cannon, okay. I know there was one of them that did something along those lines.
Oh, yeah.
Again, I've only watched a couple of videos and haven't learned all the stuff about it.
Oh, but you will.
I know. Eventually.
But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to this week.
Yeah.
Not soon after the new Sparking Zero is going to come out.
What is that?
Dragon Ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that a game?
Yeah, I've shown it to you before. The new Dragon Ball Arena Fighter. Like
wow. Oh, yeah, where you can play as like all the characters. Yeah.
So far, it's looking like every single iteration of a character.
Yeah, even weird, obscure side characters.
Yep.
It's called Sparking Zero?
Yes.
I forgot I know you showed it to me, but obviously I forgot what the name of it was called.
Yeah, it's all good.
That's crazy.
It's looking pretty good so far.
And when does that come out?
I believe it's going to be in October.
Okay, so just around the corner.
Won't be long.
Nice. It's crazy that at the top of this year we had like a games to look forward to this year, and we like went through the whole list.
Right.
And I'm kind of interested in like listening back over that episode again, just to like see like what we actually touched on it, because I know for a fact we touched on the potential of Space Marines coming out at like the tail end of it. But anyways,
definitely on the list.
Yeah, I have kind of a crazy story that I want to share with you.
Yeah.
Would you indulge me in this?
No, I don't think I feel like it.
Cool. It was probably 2 nights ago. I was in the living room, chilling out on the couch.
Yeah.
and like I heard a commotion outside, and we live how do you say this? We live like we're in Louisiana,
Right.
and we live in not the city and not the country.
Right.
It's almost like the suburbs, but like we live on like a pretty substantial piece of land.
Yeah.
With trees around us.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the front side and like most of the backyard mowed, and then there's a guy that comes out and like bush hogs like the other like 3 acres that's like the extended backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, it needs to get mowed. It's kind of getting out of hand right now.
Yeah.
But because like it's like a whole 4 acres that we're on, so it's a lot of property. And again, to save money, because I don't own a lawnmower, and I really don't want to mow lawns. I'd rather just pay someone to do it. First world problems. I'll admit it. There's like kind of tall grass that's like past the like what I would call the immediate backyard, and it's just extended backyard area. So like and again, there's like trees beyond that, and like kind of some woods, and then you go even further back, and then there's like a highway or something.
Yeah.
So like we're around vegetation, and then again, sometimes critters are about. Obviously, with enough grass and enough trees around. There's the occasional possum that's around.
Right.
I even
a raccoon here and there.
A raccoon here and there. I usually will chase off because I don't want them getting too cozied up next to our trash cans.
That's what they do.
I've had to shoo away an armadillo off the carport because he started moseying around. And I was like, "Hey, bud, come on!"
Yeah.
And he was blind or armadillos just don't see very well. Because I walked up on him and I was like, "Hey, bud, you got to get moving." And he was just like,
What?
And I was like, "Hey, come on, bud, scoot over." And he was like,
Roll on.
Yeah, right. So anyways, again, those are like, that is the standard fare of critters that every now and then when the sun sets, you'll start to see.
Yeah.
Again, we got a cat that was a stray that is now an outdoor cat that I keep around, that I'm almost certain keeps any sort of rodent population that may be around. He keeps it down to a minimum. So I'm painting this picture because that is like the standard fare where like I have driven even again, this story I'm about to tell was probably 2 nights ago.
Did you see a skunk?
No, I have seen skunks before.
Right, they've showed up too.
They have showed up again, very rarely, but sometimes they do.
Right.
2 nights ago. So I would say it's probably the night before that. It's probably 3 nights from when we're recording this. As I was pulling in the driveway, I saw a possum run across. So I'm painting this picture of like even up until very recently, as I was pulling in the driveway from like rehearsals or whatever, and I get my spot, I saw a little possum like sneak around and go into the woods, and I was like, "There's another one."
Yep.
And I'm saying all this because I'm sitting on the couch, I hear a commotion outside, and sometimes these critters will start to invade around the house, and the cat is very much like, around the house is my domain, and gets very defensive, justifiably. And I like that. Hey, the cat's like, "Get off my lawn." And I'm like, yeah, get him off my lawn. So, and that is like a light scuffle where sometimes I hear a meow, a hiss, and then of course some commotion, and then of course it stops. And I'm like, okay, the cat has successfully push this critter off the property. This is a much more aggressive rustling. No meowing, no hissing, but like something bigger is trying to get at something. And I'm like, excuse me? And it's like it's happening underneath the back porch area. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm hearing something that is of a bigger size, like as if it's underneath the carport and like trying to like wrestle with something to like get it out from underneath the carport. Yeah. So immediately I'm like, holy shit.
What the fuck is that?
What is happening?
Yeah.
And because again, because the back porch is elevated.
Right.
So whenever there's like something big that's making a commotion, it kind of rumbles the floors because it's like, almost hollow.
Yeah.
Or, so it's big enough where like it's hitting its body up against like the underneath of the porch. Like, so that's what I'm saying. So like, it's not just like a rustling. It's like there's something underneath the house that's like trying to get something.
Right.
So I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So I already had my shoes on.
Right.
So I grab.
Let's go check it out.
I grab that flashlight, right? Grab the flashlight. It's like a tactical military flashlight.
Right.
So I grabbed the nice bright flashlight.
Of the L shape.
Exactly, of the L shape variety, like an old World War II flashlight.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed the flashlight and I go make my way towards the back door.
Yeah.
And I'm being a little bit cautious, more so than I would if it's just, again, possum, skunk, armadillo, you name it.
Right.
As I make my way out there and I kind of like put that first strong step on the back porch, something exits like towards the woods, but then crosses, where like a little fire pit is?
Yeah.
And that little, if you're looking at the back porch, the fire pit, the big tree, he runs around the fire pit and then past the tree and then keeps booking it towards like the side woods.
Yeah.
And as I got my flashlight on it, it's a whole ass coyote.
Are you serious?
I mean, full coyote.
Damn. Okay. See, I thought you were gonna say bear, and I was be like,
no bear, no bear. But I got nervous because then directly after that, once the coyote was like scared off and it moved, I stayed out there for a minute, and then I saw the possum run straight back into the woods, like as if he was like, "Here's my chance."
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, oh my God."
Right.
Because I don't know a whole lot about coyotes because I've never seen one around here before. I know that they are around. Yeah. More so like in the woods. Again, we're like in suburbia mostly. So supposedly, from what I was looking up, like coyotes at least are becoming more and more acclimated to like city life in a way, and in this area of Louisiana that we're in. Yeah. And a whole bunch of stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh. But again, one thing that I didn't look up, but that I knew was like, I'm pretty sure coyotes run in packs. And then I started thinking, I was like, I'm just going to stay out here for a minute and just make sure that there's not.
Yeah, at least like groups of 2, I think, is the minimum.
And that's what I was thinking. So there may have been one hiding in the trees and one was just hunting for something or was chasing the possum and got to the house where it felt safe or the porch or whatever. But for a second, I was like, I know we have the cat outside. And I was like, the last thing I want is for the cat to like do what it does and defend the property and get drug off by a coyote. Yeah. Or worse, get devoured by a band of coyotes in the backyard.
I'd sooner incinerate the entire backyard before I let that happen.
That's what I'm saying. So I stayed out there for a little while because I was like, I just was a little bit on edge because I was like, I don't want the coyotes to come back around or, with reinforcements or something. And like I said, and then I'm
They're
out
about
here
to receive a pincer maneuver.
That's what I'm saying. And then of course I'm back here in the backyard fighting off coyotes with a broom or something. You know what I mean? So I'm like, dude,
you best believe I'm about to bust out the hate stick.
I trust me. I was seconds away from calling you and just being like, "Hey, bud,
grab a weapon,"
because this happened at midnight, and I'm pretty sure you're still awake.
Oh, yeah, usually.
But I was about to just knock on the door and be like, "Hey, bud, I need you to like
arm up,
2 arms.
We're under attack.
We're surrounded by the coyotes, dude."
Oh goodness.
Needless to say, then it never came back. I guess the flashlight or me moving around scared it enough where it moved away, or again, I scared the possum off as well. So I mean,
it's usually enough that if a coyote just sees you, that'll avoid you entirely.
Right, exactly. Again, I just a lot with these critters. I'm calling them these woodland creatures.
Varmints.
Ethel, we got varmints.
There's a miscreant outside.
There's a coyote on the back porch. And I tried to also, like I said, paint this picture like we're in suburbia because I know the second I tell this story, it's going to come across like that. We're like, oh, the Hindsight Studios is off the beaten path.
Right.
You go past
a couple of country bumpkins.
You go past the old oak tree and take a right on the gravel road.
Yeah.
Past the band of coyotes and there's the studio. No, that's not. But it sounds like it though.
In the backyard.
Yeah. In the back. Yeah, exactly. Once you hop off the back porch, different
Uncharted
story.
territory.
And funny enough, we do have a very large oak tree in the backyard, which is, anyways.
Yeah.
So I just as I was staying out there and waiting, I think the cat got frightened and was, hunkering down, which I was happy with. And eventually the cat came out, and I was like, okay, he's fine. Everything's cool. Everyone's chill. No more critters around.
Right.
And so, but needless to say, I've been keeping an eye outside, just making sure. I try to keep the house, at least certain portions of it, a little bit lit outside, and
right.
I'm not gonna say I'm reckless, but I do try to like make it very known that like a human being resides here and is not happy with you being here.
Right.
I'm not gonna go and attack them, get up on them in their business. But there has been a
make it apparent that
there has been a handful. There's been a couple of times where I've seen 1 or 2 raccoons, and I've like gotten up on them, and they're like, no, this is our trash, and like walk up on them. I'm like, no, this is my trash, and they're like, oh shit,
get away from my trash.
That's his trash. And then I pick up the trash and put it back in the bin.
That's my fucking refuse.
Exactly. So, anyways, I forgot that I hadn't told you that, and then when I was thinking about it again, I was like, oh, I gotta share this for Dylan now. So
divulge your encounters with the wildlife.
Exactly. So it was a scary situation though, because I was like, I can handle the smaller creatures,
right?
But then when the idea of like a coyote or more than one coyote was around, again, I've dealt with pretty big dogs that were like a bit more aggressive and been able to kind of put them in their place a little bit, or or kind of snap them out of it,
right?
But I have never personally dealt with like the potential of like a non-domestic,
right, a wild animal.
Canine of that variety. So I'm like, the last thing I want to do is I'm not saying I won't put a coyote down. I'm just saying I don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of like having to go to the doctor if I get bit to go get treated for rabies. I'm too busy to be doing that right now. Yeah, no. So I'm like, I'll fight off a coyote, bet. And I'll probably take down a coyote, and you better believe I'm going to hang that head on the mantelpiece whenever like I make it happen, especially if it's to defend the cat and my house. Because then we were talking about a story piece. People are like, wwhy you got like a coyote pelt on the ground? I'm like,
because I bitch trying to fuck with my cat
and my house. Talk about that story. But again, I'm also like, I was very much thinking like, if I'm trying to scare this coyote off, or if it comes back around. It was also fairly dark outside, and I was like, if I get like snuck up on by a coyote,
and bitches can see in the dark,
and that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to like make sure that the house is all taken care of, and that the coyotes aren't like. Again, I don't want them to be comfortable next to the house.
Definitely not.
I want to make it very clear that you come around this area, you don't belong here. But again, like I said, I just didn't want I didn't want to get snatched up by an ankle or on my thigh or whatever. Get like a nasty gash. That of course I got to go like, hey Dylan, can you drive me to the hospital real fast while I get a tetanus shot? So,
otherwise I'm gonna start foaming.
I'm just saying, like I don't,
quickly before the foam,
before I turn
get me to a doctor.
Oh, man. Before the full moon rises.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways.
A were-coyote.
Anyways. I just was that. I was very, I had that, the fight or flight instinct kicked in, where like I was in the backyard. It was dark outside. All I had was a flashlight. And then like just that sensation of like, what?
There was a creature.
What happens if out of nowhere a coyote shows up?
Right.
And like, I don't know if this is just like a guy thing. I don't know if this is just a me thing. But like the scenario started like playing through my head of like, how am I going to go about attacking this coyote?
Scare it off.
That's what I'm saying. But I was like, if it puts up a tussle, like that kind of thing. Where like, I'm just like, I was like, all the options were like running through my head of like, that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
If there's more than one coyote, like what is my escape maneuver? Like that kind of stuff. Where I'm like,
animal control.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because again, I don't own a firearm in this house, so I'm like, or even like we own like a pellet gun, like a nice like a BB pellet gun.
Right. Nothing
But
lethal,
I don't.
but it'll sting them.
And that's what I'm saying.
Fierce.
But I don't own any ammunition for it, which I probably need to buy some to be honest. But I was like, I know for a fact that if we needed to, like, I could probably scare off again. But I'm not sure if it'll scare off a coyote. Maybe it would. Who knows? But so, anyways,
if it knows better, it'll be scared.
yeah. So that was my story. Wild, but I was like, okay,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was also at Walmart a couple days ago. I got a whole bunch of groceries and things like that, and just doing the normal, like the standard fare.
Right.
And as I do every now and then, I'll like go over and look at like the Lego section, or like I'm also a sucker for candles. So like every now and then I'll go like over to the candle section, just like see what they got.
Grab a nice smell.
So I was looking back over at the Lego section, and they got this new set.
Oh.
And I was like kind of interested in it. They have this, I guess it's like a new Lego Star Wars, like, I guess like run that they're doing called Rebuild the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, there's one of those at the Best Buy too.
And it's like I think it's like different versions of like role reversed. I've seen a couple of them of like role reverse Star Wars scenarios. Yeah. And so this was called the Dark Falcon.
Hey, what the fuck?
And
that looks amazing.
It's like it's an all black Millennium Falcon, and it has like the dish has like a green laser, like the Death Star. The windows are all red. It's got like red accents and gray accents. It's beautiful. It looks
insane.
It looks really cool. And then they have a couple of different like minifigs that come with it. And this is when I was like, man, you know, Lego is really, is having fun. They have Beach Luke.
What?
Which looks like Luke Skywalker with flip flops, and he's got like long flowing hair.
Oh my god!
Do you know what's that character's name in The Big Lebowski?
The dude.
John Goodman plays him.
Oh yeah.
He's got like a beard and yellow glasses.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
It's okay. But if you've seen The Big Lebowski, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I for some reason I second guessed myself. He has like long flowing hair, a beard, yellow glasses, and like a gold chain.
I think you're thinking of the dude.
I am?
Yeah. Because John Goodman's character has short hair and like a mustache.
Regardless, he looks like he like fits in like the 80s.
Right.
That whole vibe. Yeah, it's kind of interesting looking. It's a white Darth Vader with a blue lightsaber called Jedi Vader.
Damn.
And he's all white with a little gray cloak, and I was like, that's kind of cool looking.
Interesting.
Bounty Hunter C-3PO.
Oh, and my god.
He's got a black left hand, and he's got red eyes.
Oh my god.
He's like evil looking. So it's, again, like role reverse.
Jesus.
I don't know who Darth Dev is.
Darth Dev.
Yeah. He's kind of interesting. He's got like black hair. He's got like a whole black suit with like a little silver hand, I think. So maybe it's like I don't actually know who that's supposed to be. But then we get into some fun stuff here. Yeah. We have Darth Jar Jar. Who has a double-bladed lightsaber.
Oh my god.
And he's got this like blue crystal on. He looks all evil looking. And then you also have Darth Ray with like her dual lightsaber that like kind of folds over on itself. It was $140.
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, but it's a big box. Yeah. 100 or 1,500 pieces. Ooh. Or almost 1,600. So anyways, I saw that and I got a real kick out of it. I was like, dude.
That's nuts.
How fun and different and interesting. So anyways.
Oh, Jesus. So, the Dark Falcon. That thing looked amazing.
I know, right?
Jeez.
Not only did like the model looked cool and it grabbed my eye because I was like, yo, what is this? And then I looked at all the minifigs inside of it and I was like, what the hell? Look at all these little guys. They had a couple other ones that were like part of like the quote unquote like rebuild the galaxy, I guess like sub genre or whatever. Yeah. I forgot what they were, but they just very similar. They were like role reversed versions of like a very popular Star Wars things.
That's
so
crazy.
it was fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So, anyways, a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
But
man, we had truck today because it didn't come on Monday.
Yeah.
So I had the 2 to 9 shift like regular. It was only a 2,000 piece truck, so it was pretty light comparatively.
Yeah.
But the best part was we had like 6 people in total working on truck.
And you normally have like 2, right?
2 or 3, sometimes 4. And more often than not, because of that, we don't get truck done because there's not enough people.
Mm-hmm.
But we finished everything with like an hour to spare.
Oh, of course.
And it was fucking fantastic.
Love that. Did you get out early?
No, I got out on time.
Oh, there,
which is early.
Whoa, okay. Damn, that's wild.
I know, because for some fucked up reason, they don't want us to leave until truck is finished, even though it's like past time for me to go.
Yeah.
I'll usually have to open the morning after, so of course I'm like,
ugh, that's awful.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
But no, today was different. Today was perfect.
That's awesome.
And I hope that they don't stop that, because it makes sense and is what should be done, but
right,
often is not.
Right.
Yeah. So I was pretty happy about that.
It makes me wonder, like I wonder if it's cheaper for the company to have.
Oh, it definitely has to do with like labor allotment.
That's what exactly.
Which is already fucking stupid. But
yeah. Would it be cheaper to keep 2 or 3 employees for a couple hour or a couple extra hours, or to have a full 6-man team,
right,
or 5-man team even every week? You know,
that'd be perfect.
So
I wish.
Right.
Because we get multiple trucks in. Like, we've got the regular, like, floor tote truck, and then all the big stuff like the TVs and appliances, but I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm honestly thinking about going to Total Wine. Like
really?
A few of my other coworkers have, yeah.
Damn, dude.
$15.50 an hour, which still isn't much, but I feel like the work would be more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Plus, I get a discount.
Oh, that's nice.
Can you say alcoholism?
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, dude. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'd get to see some of my old friends, too.
A bit of a drive from where we are located, but I mean, hey.
25 to 30 minutes, more or less the same, if not a little bit longer than my current drive. So even then, I might consider it.
For me, it makes me, in moments like that, I start to question, like, would the little bit longer of a drive be worth it in sanity? Like, happiness, you know what I mean? Like, can you put a price on, like, your, I'm not saying a price per se, but, like, sometimes, like, if it's going to put you a little bit out, or it's going to be a new job to kind of get used to, is that more than, like, the frustration and like the convenience of the job you currently have?
Right.
And, like, sort of like a pros and cons list, like what would be better, and then kind of matching up what is, like, more important. So at least that's what I've done with jobs in the past, where I'm like, it's a little bit further out. Sometimes, for me at least, I've taken a little bit of a pay cut, like change.
Yeah.
Like if I'm making $1 amount, I've taken the cut of, like, instead of being $15.50 for reference, I'll do like $15, and it's like, it's a pay cut.
Yeah.
But, like, the job is so much better, or have benefits or whatever, and I'm like,
right. Balance.
Kind of sucks. So I can get paid as much, but I'm happier.
Feels better.
Feels better. And, like, it's those kind of those conversations I've had with myself in the past, where, like, you know, is it worth it in the long run? So, but yeah. To kind of switch gears a little bit, we have been making our way through Ghost in the Shell Arise.
Oh yeah,
and
that's been nice.
We got one left, and I'm kind of sad about it.
Yeah,
because I don't want it to end yet. And I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah,
I don't know anything about it. I know we just recently ended the last episode, you know, with is it Togusa?
Yeah.
Togusa, and, you know, he has his baby on the way, and, you know, all that. And we start to he's now going to be part of the team. And it's oh man, I feel like feel like we're just starting.
It's all coming together.
Exactly, it's all coming.
The beginning.
It's the beginning, and I feel like we're at the end. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sad a little bit because I know we're coming to the end for that. Yep. So
the finish of the start.
Exactly. But anyways, it was fun while it lasted, and I enjoyed I enjoyed watching it while it happened.
Yeah.
And that episode should be coming out pretty soon as well, whenever we actually get the chance to watch it.
If you do end up wanting more Ghost in the Shell, there is that CG series that released on Netflix a while back.
Yeah.
From what I had watched of it, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But
I'm not opposed to giving it a look.
Oh yeah.
I think it's more so it's just that I'm really scratching the itch for this version of it. I've loved it. The first few episodes have really engaged me, and it's a cool new twist on it. And then I'm getting into that. Like I said, it feels like the beginning. We're just about to get the full team together, and now it's like, okay, now the show's about to start, and you're like, we got one episode left, and I'm like,
that's it.
I've been loving the action and loving the animation and like the new take on all the characters, and it's like, it's just all these things that I'm loving about it that I'm like, I feel like you're taking it away from me. So so I think that's more so the fact that like it's not only just Ghost in the Shell as a whole, but it's just this new iteration of it too. Of like, not only have I missed Ghost in the Shell, but now you show me something new and different and fun, but still in that same universe. I'm like, oh, give me more.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So it's all good though. I'm excited about this finale coming up.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah. And speaking of finales, we're also about to wrap up our rewatch of Big O.
Oh yeah.
Which is
only 3 episodes left.
Which also kind of makes me sad as well. That
Speaking of, you want to wipe that out tonight?
Maybe.
Okay.
Depends on how. I need to. To be honest, I've been putting off like packing up a bag and getting ready for this trip. So I need to let me get that out the way first. Let me see how I feel.
All right.
Yeah. I noticed there's a few things that like the show is kind of separated. It's not like in seasons.
Yeah, they don't specify like a season separation. It's just kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
There's like
how to describe.
There's like a noticeable like, what feels like original run of the series, and then like
and then got
the
updated
extension
animation.
Right, the extension that they got that kind of expands upon it, and then makes it into like this much bigger thing actually. I have only watched this show fully once with you.
Yeah, this would be our second go through.
Right, and I still love it. I still love the atmosphere, the characters, the voice actors, the animation,
the intrigue.
All of it. The mystery of it all. But like I've realized I like that first initial run of it.
Oh yeah.
Not like as a complete thing, because I think it does kind of end on it ends on a high note, but not a conclusive one.
Right.
Where it's like,
it just hits you with a to be continued.
Right, and you're like, well, all right.
Shit.
But like the music is a little different, the animation's a little different.
It's a very noticeable change.
Right, and not in a bad way.
Yeah, still good.
There's something that I think, in a weird way, like I didn't watch any of this whenever it originally ran, but there's something about like that original run of it that like just makes me feel. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's because they use that Houston track, the Houston Street track that like it's just this beautiful saxophone that just goes along with this world. And again, there's so much mystery involved in it, and
I'd say the first half of the series leans more towards the detective noir aspect of it, whereas the second half builds upon that whole operatic epic.
Yeah,
that the story evolves into.
Again, not bad, and it is so unique and so good in its own right. But there's just something about that noir vibe, that like this kind of secret.
Every single scene with Schwarzwald.
My
absolute favorite.
This rainy city saxophone noir vibe. I'm just like, I love that.
Oh yeah,
and I so badly want to make something in that. so badly. I'm telling you, dude. I want to write a story in that vibe.
Damn.
Just because I don't know, it speaks to me in a way, and it's so interesting. And
as far as settings go, it's probably up there with your favorites.
And then also the fact that like with a sci-fi element or a mecha anime element, you can make it so,
because we've already made the comparison with like the original Warner Brothers Batman the animated series,
100%,
because it's totally that same style.
Yeah,
but the fact that they include the whole mecha aspect of it is what makes it great for me.
100%.
The fact that these gigantic machines, who no one knows the original purpose of, are just running amok throughout the city or defending the city,
right,
is one of my favorite parts.
The question that I think is posed in that later portion that I think makes it more interesting in its entirety is what does it, there's, without spoiling too much of the show, like there's this whole like memory aspect of the show,
right,
like where
everybody's amnesiac,
right? Like anything from 40 years ago, no one knows.
Memories are evidently something tangible that you can acquire somehow,
right? But like our main character Roger, being like, what does it mean to be the pilot of this mech, basically, or in the series, this Dominus of this robot.
For the most part, like at the start, he doesn't really worry about it. He just
exactly.
He treats it like a job that he has to do.
And that's what I mean is like in that first part, we don't really discuss that. It's not really ever talked about, and it's just something that we're all just like, that's just fact, and we all just accept it. But that's what I think. That's the most. What I'm saying is the most interesting part about that like later half of the show.
Yeah,
where
because
it's
then it delves like way deep in, because then like the origins of it.
A little bit, I think, off in the deep end, but I like the idea of then questioning like, but why me? And especially again with dealing with the memories and this whole amnesia of the city and like what does it mean to be the, and then again like almost I like the idea of like now the robot, without speaking or communicating, is subtly communicating with him.
Has a will of its own,
and it's
in
like
some regard.
Whoa, okay, now we're dealing with some pretty big. So I think that's the interesting side of it. I think that's fun and it's cool and different. But man,
because the whole like interface in the cockpit, there's always a hint of the machine itself judges you, whether or not you're worthy to pilot it.
Exactly.
So of course there's some like back and forth there,
right?
But as far as actual communication goes, it's all up to your interpretation.
It almost feels like whenever, this is going to really simplify what I think the show makes a little bit more, does a better job, but just to put it in real world terms, it's like whenever that old Honda CRV I used to have, and I called her Old Faithful, and I was like, come on, baby, you got this. And then she would whenever I was in Canada, and it was all frozen up, but every time I was like, come on, baby, I know you got this. And it would, it would always run, it would always start, and I was like, you never let me down. It's like that kind of relationship between like a mechanism and a person of like, there's no actual
the machine spirit.
Exactly. There's no actual communication, but I can sit here and go, what do you need from me? And I hear it and I feel it and I'm like,
the Omnissiah makes its presence known.
Right. I'm sitting here and like it makes a weird noise or does a weird thing and I'm like, I got you. You've been taking care of me. I can take care of you. Is what it kind of feels like.
Oh yeah.
Roger kind of talks and is like, what do you need from me? And of course it like subtly through some motion or through some thing, he's like, I got you. I know what you need me to do. And it's like, it's just so cool and weird and interesting, and I love it.
Another one of my favorite bits is that Norman, his butler, who is this absolutely aloof, but like jack of all trades. Motherfucker can do anything. He's got a motorcycle with a sidecar that has a built-in rocket launcher.
Hell yeah.
He handles all of the maintenance and like armaments of Big O,
bruh,
on his own.
Yeah,
like this gigantic machine, he just knows how to do anything with. Like he can fix anything on it.
I'm gonna be real with you. Everybody needs a Norman.
I'm telling you.
I was like, if I had me a butler like Norman, bruh. If I just had me a friend like Norman, that's like the funny thing is like in the most recent episode, Roger went to go save Dorothy. and Norman was like, "Whoa, I thought you were with a Big O."
Right.
And he's like, "No, I had to go run some errands." And he was like, "Norman, I need you to like." What did he say?
Get Dorothy and
I
bring
need you
her
to
home.
come get Dorothy. And that dude had his helmet.
Right, just at the ready.
Yeah, that dude
like he was already about to leave, but decided to call just to be sure.
Yes. Norman
man.
was strapped, had that helmet ready to go. He's like, "Fear not, I'll be there momentarily." It's like, bruh.
My favorite bit of introspection from him specifically. Now, he doesn't. Norman's a character we see every now and then, but not too often.
Right.
But in one of the episodes where Roger is like coming to grips with his identity and trying to like figure out who he is,
Yeah.
we see a shot of Norman talking to him in the hangar for Big O.
Oh,
and he
yes.
says, "It may be possible that I've been watching over you and Big O long before everyone lost their memories."
Wow.
That shit hits me.
Yeah.
But man, he's easily one of the best characters in the show.
I love him. Such a great character.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the epitome of like a great mainstay side character that just like holds down the fort.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, especially in the kind of film noir aspect, and we're kind of dealing with this like 1920s, 30s Art Deco kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know, just the idea of
mixed with like post-apocalyptic dystopia.
a little bit, yeah. I don't know, it fits so well, and I love that, and I think it's such a great. I think it's the same thing with oh shit, I can't remember his name. Bruce Wayne and what's his name?
Alfred.
It's the same thing with Alfred.
Oh,
like there's and so many.
That's the exact dynamic. That
there
they have.
exactly. And there's so many great adaptations of Alfred of like just a solid.
Oh yeah.
The kind of the
dependable,
like the old mentor character of like I got
the steward.
Exactly, and I'm like, I don't know, I love that.
Yeah. I enjoy Big O for the same reasons I enjoy Turn A Gundam.
Really?
Yes, because it takes place in an older time period. Say like this is, I don't know, early 30s, maybe 40s.
Yeah.
With that whole like Art Deco style.
Right.
Whereas with Turn A, it's like pre-industrial era, like almost Victorian in nature.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And through uncovering the Turn A buried like under a statue, and like as they pilot it and find out more about it, they realize it's a catastrophic like world-ending machine.
Yeah.
That had done so like more than a few centuries ago. Yeah. It's one of my favorite fucking things.
I actually didn't know that about Turn A.
You didn't?
Was like, no, I didn't know that like this. Again, I knew that.
Oh, you mean like the setting for it?
Yeah, I knew that the setting. Again, so for any of those who are listening, I have never watched Turn A. I'm getting there as far as the Gundam series. Exactly. The only thing I've known about Turn A was obviously that it's like far future, and that it is the end timeline for all Gundam timelines.
That is the end.
The end of it all.
De facto.
And so I've known that. So I just imagine it's like far future. So like it's even like it's far removed from all the technology that even I know in this like UC timeline stuff or whatever. I didn't, but it also kind of makes sense that like potentially the world would have come to an end and reset in some way.
Yeah.
And then,
by way of the Turn A.
Right, by way of the Turn A, which is kind of crazy and cool at the same time.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Awesome. So yeah, and now talking about Big O and my loves for that show, it really makes me want to rewatch Batman the Animated Series.
Oh yeah.
I have watched episodes of that when it released on Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah.
But I've never watched the whole franchise.
I got the whole thing.
And I know that isn't it pretty long?
It's a fair decent size.
I know it ran for forever. But I also know that they had like the Justice League series.
Right, they had the Superman cartoon.
Yeah.
They had Batman Beyond.
I know a lot of them like tie in together, or
Take place in the same timeline.
Right, they reference each other.
Yeah,
which I think is also what
so good.
Dude, that was a different time. That really was a different time.
Yeah, good stuff.
I was never like a super big DC fan, but the first the first superhero I ever fell in love with was Batman as a kid. I remember watching, but this is going to sound funny. I remember watching a lot of different versions of Batman, but the one that I thought was the wackiest and like as like an 8 or 10-year-old kid or whatever it was that I thought was like the most, oh, actually, to be honest, I was probably younger than that. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Is the George Clooney Batman. The really weird one. Yeah. The really weird one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that. And that came out, what was it, like late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was probably 5 or 6. So again, I had no taste. I just saw Batman and
like,
I was like, yeah, Batman. Nice to meet you.
God.
Yeah, exactly. I was like that prime age where like, I mean, you could have fed me anything Batman. I was like, hell yeah. So yeah, but
that's hilarious.
Yeah, but then shortly after that, I'm pretty sure is when the animated series came out, and that was, I mean, I loved the heck out of that.
Oh yeah.
So
a standout, I would say.
Exactly. Man, what a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Also makes me feel old too.
Don't remind me.
Man, I don't think I've seen any of the new DC movies.
No, I haven't either.
The only ones that I've heard I think are pretty good or that kind of have been decent have been the Man of Steel ones.
Yeah, I saw the first one way back when. I enjoyed some of the action scenes, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I always liked Superman, but he was never my favorite.
Dude, Superman was he was my go-to.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mainly because of his depiction in the Justice League.
Yeah.
And like the original animated series for him.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That shit was perfect.
Yeah. For me, whenever the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies came out in the early 2000s, I fell in love with Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, I fell in love with Spider-Man.
That's the shit.
And then shortly after that, whenever the first Iron Man movie came out, and it like reignited, or I want to say reignited, well, I guess in the context, like it reignited Iron Man for people. But for me, like I never really heard about Iron Man. And so to see that version of it, I was like, yo, this is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, man, do I want a mechanical suit that I can fly in? I was like, hell yeah, dude.
It's perfect.
There was like an old like PS2 game or maybe even PS3 game at the time. There was like an Iron Man game that was like a video game adaptation of the movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's been years since I've even seen it or even heard of it. It probably is a shit.
I can remember the cover.
It probably is a shitty game, to be honest. But like, I remember like flying around as the suit and like doing like crazy stuff, like shooting things with your laser beams in your hand or whatever. And it was like it really scratched the itch even more. Where I was like, I just want to fly as Iron Man. I just thought it was so cool. So, but yeah, I kind of fell off a lot of the Marvel films.
Yeah, they were pretty top notch for like a good while.
Yeah.
But I feel like as far as where I fell off, it would be after Endgame.
Yeah. I think a lot
like
of people
after that storyline ended.
Yeah, it came to a nice conclusion.
Because I mean, you couldn't really top that.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially not with how everything was leading up to it.
Oh yeah.
That's the end point for me.
Yeah, I think they're trying to reboot the franchise in a way and like do a different timeline with new characters. I think they're trying to potentially maybe do like an X-Men thing or something. Maybe who knows? But I was very much a big fan of Star Wars. I always have been. Was born and raised off of the Star Wars films. Up until recent history, whenever they start like just cranking out television shows that are kind of poorly written, like I've been like a diehard fan of everything Star Wars. Like I said, up until recent history, and the same thing can be said about Lord of the Rings. The reason why I've made a vow to really not like watch Star Wars or Lord of the Rings to talk about them is I feel like I couldn't do them justice in just one episode. Yeah. And I feel like I would just be yapping on for too long about how much I love each aspects of it. And that's kind of also not the magic of this show. The magic of this show is like at least someone at the table has no idea what they were watching.
Yeah.
And then gets to kind of gush on it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it would maybe one day. I'm not going to say never going to say never, but for right now,
we'll see.
Something that I have I've been really really in love with has been Tolkien's world. I've really fallen in love with that fantasy element that kind of what started it all. And I'm really sad about what's happening with the Rings of Power. Season 2 just released, and it's just it
doesn't measure up.
It makes me so sad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes me so sad that like this could be people's first viewing into the into Tolkien's world.
Yeah.
And like they're really making a mockery of it. It just makes me sad. And it's like, man, to think and people may have their own beliefs about, you know, Tolkien as a person or all that stuff, but it's like this person, J.R.R. Tolkien, like his life's work was this beautiful and wonderful
sprawling fantasy
fantasy world that has literally, and I mean literally, like birthed modern high fantasy into what it is today. Was he walked so that way everyone in this world could run in that sense.
Yeah.
And then to have people just like take that and just butcher it and make it their own and put an agenda on it and just like make it so, I mean, it's like comedic how poorly written it is. And it's like, it just makes me sad. Like, this is a world that I love a lot. Yeah. And people are like, I mean, just like really defacing the creator of it, who did so much for this world. I don't know. That's like, so to think about that, it makes me kind of sad, and which is why I've been collecting in recent history, probably since this time last year when the first season released.
Yeah,
I've been creating a collection of like Tolkien literature. I've always loved his writing, and I've always been drawn to it. And again, it is so iconic, and but I've never owned the books myself.
Yeah,
I've always borrowed them from a friend that had them and all that other stuff. But I was like, man, I should, for a person who hypes up really loving Tolkien as like one of my favorite authors and like loving the world and it meaning so much to me and it like kind of shaping a part of me, like in my fantasy interest and my love, and you know, in my branching out into like doing D&D a little bit, and you know, and writing my own stories and things like that, and like all that stuff. For someone who talks about all that, I was like, to not really,
I don't even own the books.
Not even own parts of it. I was like, man, for shame,
gotta get my shit together.
For shame. So, anyways, I have a little collection set of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I got this really cool version of The Hobbit that's like also like a picture book that it's like pretty big. It's a hardback and it's got beautiful artwork in it that I fell in love with. And I was like, if nothing else, maybe I'll give it to my kid one day. I'll read it to my kid one day if I have one. You know, like that kind of stuff where it's like, I don't know. I'd
like to preface by saying I don't want us to come off as like geriatrics who are like, this shit sucks.
No,
everything was awful.
You're right.
Now, I'm all for giving something a fair shot.
Yeah.
Before I cast it aside.
Yeah.
I'm still probably not going to watch Rings of Power, mainly because I'm just not interested.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to like make any kind of statements on it otherwise, unless I've actually seen it.
Of course.
As far as anything else goes, I mean, it's more or less the same. I'm just gonna if I feel like I want to watch it, I'll watch it.
Of course,
If not, I won't.
Yeah,
but
and again, like I said, as because I have such a strong pull to it, like I obviously I wanted the show to be really good, and I had no problems with the casting. I had no problems with the choices that they made. It really has just come down to like a lot of the lore that they're taking into their own hands, recreating situations.
It's one thing if you're like putting your own spin on it, but it's another if you just completely ignore like all the pre-established stuff, and even then, like that could just be part of like putting your own spin on it.
You're right. But I think it also the reason why I feel hurt by it is because like the creators and the actors are like really like trying to stick it to Tolkien.
Oh yeah,
and like that's coming across that way of like pretentious and snooty, and like we're correcting history.
Oh,
that's the verbiage.
I see.
And that's what hurts is like. That's what I'm saying. It's like they're like I have nothing wrong, and I even stated it in the Ghost in the Shell.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can take something and make it your own, and make it look different, and give it a new spin, and try something new.
Right. As long as it is genuinely good and enjoyable to watch.
Right.
Do whatever you want.
Exactly. But when it comes across to like.
Now, of course, I realize good is subjective.
Right.
Different strokes for different folks, but.
Right. And that's why I say like I'm not. When I look at the show, there is a lot of budget in the show. Yeah. It is shot with very good cameras. Oh, There's a lot of makeup and lighting.
They got plenty of previews on like some of the TV demos at work.
And that's what I'm saying. Is like it's not so like there are people that have worked on that show that have tried their best to make it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But my disconnect is when like the creators of the show and the actors are like, we have an agenda and that's priority one.
Yeah.
Just so that way you know, and if you're not on board with it, you're a bigot. And I'm like, okay, so
Damn.
like, so I feel attacked as a lover of Tolkien because I'm like, I hear you, and there's a way that you could do that, but like to like throw away the source material and to also like kind of bash it and like kind of talk shit on it a little bit when it's like without that you probably wouldn't be making this thing today. Right. It's like it's just that whole thing, it just feels very pretentious, very uppity, and that's why that's what hurts me at least. I'm not gonna say physically, and I feel like I'm saying hurt. It's like I'm taking it personally. I'm not really.
Right.
I really love this franchise, and it really hurts that like I wanted to love this show. I wanted to be invested. And then of course to have the creators of the show say like, "Here's our agenda. If you don't like it, you're not allowed to watch the show." And it's like, well, okay, now I feel like you're.
That's a fast track to alienate your audience.
And that's what I'm saying is like I think every single person that is like a Tolkien fan, or at least from what I've talked to in the groups that I've been a part of, they're like they really have just said if you like Lord of the Rings, don't watch this show.
Damn.
This isn't for you. Is what it felt like, and it's like okay, well.
It's not a very good impression.
Right. You're not really putting your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel like I didn't mean to rant on about that. That's just it is a very strong feeling where it's like again, but like I said, but we have watched shows where like you can take some source material, take some liberties on it, and tell a good story with it.
Right.
I just think that there's
But that's the main thing. You have to tell a good story.
And that's the thing. Is that right now? I don't even know if I should tell you this. With season 2,
wait, have you actually watched anything of it?
I've watched bits of it,
or
I've seen like clips of it, and I've seen people like kind of like go into detail about it. And like a big thing they were kind of like they're trying to push is like they're like rewriting history with like how Sauron shows up, and like because in history like Sauron shows up as Anatar the Gift Lord.
Yeah.
And of course, teaches Celebrimbor how to like use or how to like craft the rings, which is how like the elf rings are made, and the whole fall of all that stuff happens. They're like making it different, where like they're making they really like Sauron is his own person, or like he's like a person, and he's like a human being. And he has like and so like he is I forgot what Halbard or something. He has like a name. He's like a named character that I think will eventually become Sauron, or I think he's Sauron in like a different form or something like that. I kind of forget what's happening. Needless to say, they're trying to like ship Galadriel and Sauron together in this show a little bit, and it's like
I mean,
Sauron. I mean, I'm not saying that
like Galadriel had some tendencies here and there,
but at the same time,
but
it's
nothing like malicious. It was all just like, hey, I could do this.
Anyways.
I won't, but I could.
It's just a lot. There's a lot going on that I'm not getting into right now. But it just, I don't know. She has just like a husband. Like you could try and anyway. So it's like like I said, there's a whole lot of stuff. They're making their own show. They're doing their own thing. For
it's
me,
just probably not for us.
Exactly. From what I'm seeing, this feels like, this feels like poorly written fan fiction.
Damn.
But with the I mean the millions.
Right.
I think it's almost $1 billion budget
Jeez.
of Amazon Prime.
Very expensive fan fiction.
I'm telling you, that's what it feels like.
Damn, dude.
So, and that's what, like I said, and then of course you got
That
people
sucks.
that made it are like, you shouldn't watch this. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Like, I mean, you're right.
all right,
I guess.
So,
Bye.
yeah, right. So that's where I'm at with all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know how I got there or what caused me to get on that tangent. But again, I've been collecting the books. I've been trying to help out I'm not even sure if it's going to that family or helping fund any of that.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start buying the books. There's a
yeah.
couple of collections coming out with like the history of Middle Earth. And it's like, there's like a couple of box sets that have like a bunch of like really great books in it that I really want. They're pretty expensive, but like, it's like it's all of it,
Yeah.
Fall of Numenor, or the Fall of Gondolin or whatever, like all that stuff.
All the essentials.
Exactly, and I want to buy them because they're really nice. They got the cool artwork on it.
Oh, yeah.
They're all hardback, and they come in like this box set. And I think there's like 2 or maybe there's 3 box sets so far. So, anyways, it's like the complete history, and I'm like, oh man, I want that also for the bookshelf too. So
It's going to look good.
yeah. I also did the same thing with the Dune series. I haven't actually read the Dune series yet, but I got the 6-book box set, and I know whenever I crack that open, I'm probably gonna just
that initial like release for the first like Dune film
that
we watched for the podcast is probably still going to be one of my favorites. But holy shit, if these new ones,
they're beautiful,
fantastic, bro.
I
recently watched the second part, and it is.
You did?
Yes.
Really? Have you seen the first one?
Yeah.
Damn.
At my brother-in-law's, and it was insanely good.
I
loved it.
I've heard it. I mean, as far as like talk about filming and cinematic masterpiece, I've heard that they're very well shot.
The Harkonnen dude, at least this version of them.
Yeah.
Holy shit. They're so cool.
Dude, we have to watch the new one.
Oh, we will.
I so badly want to watch it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, I got the books, and I'm excited to try and read them and all that stuff. So I think we're in a rut right now, creative wise, in the world where there's a lot of agenda first, creativity last, or as far as like writing goes, is what it comes across. I'm not saying across the board, but I'm just saying with like a lot of big budget stuff is what in the franchises that I'm a big fan of right now. Star Wars being one of them, and all that kind of stuff. I think even Marvel kind of comes across as that way because they're trying to appeal to everybody.
Right.
So it's not bad.
Going by the consensus, I mean, that feels like what's been happening with, like you said, a lot of the big franchises.
Yeah. There are some, I think there are some smaller franchises some smaller movies that are coming out. But I think it's
like it's not like there isn't good stuff coming out like at all.
There's some great stuff coming out. But I think it's all, I mean, even a couple of years ago, I think even we're still in the middle of that, of like remaking, like nostalgia bait.
Yeah.
Like remaking movies that like nobody's really asking to be remade. Or trying to revive franchises. Yeah. And then putting
that's
their
been
own,
going on for years
years and years. But even so, I'm saying like in specifically in modern history where like they'll remake it and it's like we didn't really need to. You didn't need to make that. But
She was kind of mid, bro.
Yeah, right. It was interesting and unique back then, but remaking it and putting a modern twist on it really doesn't.
Yeah.
You didn't need to do
Mixed
that.
bag.
Right.
Could be good or bad. Who knows?
It's all good.
Dune's a good example.
Oh, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the
happened
exception.
a couple of times with Dune. Like, they remade it again after the initial release. I can't remember if that one did very well or not, though. I don't think it did.
Which one are you talking about?
The second, like...
Because the only ones I know of is the 1980 one or whatever
that's
it was.
the original.
Okay.
And then they made another one after that.
Really?
Put a different spin on it, yeah.
I've never heard about that.
You gotta look into it. It's insane. The art for it, like the design and everything, is bonkers. Like,
and then speaking of like reviving franchises and making it new and potentially unique and different, they're next year they're releasing Tron Ares.
Really?
Yeah. So and I Now, that may be like super insider information, so don't quote me on that.
Right.
But
up in the air.
Right. But the thing is, like, I went to Disney World this past January 2024, and I got on that new Tron ride, the light cycle run, and there's a lot of, I mean, obviously it released, I mean, I want to say probably about a year ago.
Yeah.
Or I think it was still under construction, but anyways, it's very new. It's the newest ride, I think, at Disney World. And there's a lot of like, there's like different squads. You're part of the blue team, but there's like a yellow team, an orange team, a red team, and there's like all these different stuff. And it's like you're like part of this. You know, you're in this mission, and like you're supposed to be like doing a light cycle run thing, and you're going all whoop-de-doo and all kinds of crazy stuff. But like, I was like, none of like the iconography in there or the like displays or the characters that were even there, I never really heard of. And I was like, this is a whole bunch of like new stuff just for this ride.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to try and reboot Tron again in the kind of vein of Legacy, sort of.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to try and do something with it. But I was like, but I could be wrong. Who knows?
I wonder if they're going to take anything from Uprising.
I don't know.
Uprising is great.
So as I came back from that trip, and then I think it was probably a few months later, I think I heard through the grapevine that they're trying to make a new movie or potentially series of movies.
Yeah.
I think the first one being, at least from what I'm told, Tron Ares. And it's going to involve like, you know, these teams and this thing. And I was like, I think that Disney World was, I think like that ride may have been like on the cusp
just
as like
preliminary.
Exactly, getting everyone hyped for this new idea of Tron. So that way you can go to Disney World, experience this ride for like the better part of 2 years or so. Everyone's all hyped up about it, and then of course you got this like tie-in movie that brings it all together, and it's like, oh man, I thought it was interesting, and I was like, who knows? But to be honest, I don't know anything about it, or if it's going to be even good. But it's like, again,
we'll just have to wait and see.
It's another situation of like, I think from what I was told, people had mixed responses on Legacy, and I was
there were plenty of people that I don't think liked it whenever it came out.
And for me, I was like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
From what I remember of it, I was like, I thought it was, I don't know, maybe
I liked it.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was cool.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong for enjoying something.
Oh no, but like, is there something like I missed? Like, was there? Because I don't think there was anything that stood out to me of like it was not. But sometimes I can see people's perspectives of like, I guess what I'm saying is I didn't hear that people didn't like it until well after I'd watched it. You know what I mean? And at that point, then the reason I'm questioning it is like, did I like it just because it was cool, or like looking back on it retrospectively, when I look back on the movie, I'm like, it actually wasn't that great, like that kind of feeling where it's like, well, when I'm saying I'm quote unquote wrong, like I've done that with the prequel Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
I remember as a kid, whenever I watched them in the theaters and I grew up watching them, I remember loving them.
Oh yeah.
And then later in life, as I was old enough and like kind of heard people's grumblings about them and how much they hated them, I was like, let me go back and watch these. Right. And and people, to people's credit, there are some, weird and wacky and like not super great moments, but I was like, but I still love them though.
Oh yeah.
I can see where there are some flaws. I can see why. I can see your opinion.
Right.
But I still enjoy them. That's what I mean. It's like hearing people not like Tron Legacy. I was like, I remember watching it and like having fun with it and liking it. And like going back to it, I like watch it again. I'm like, I could probably see you didn't really care for it.
A couple flaws here and there, but it's still fun.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, who knows? Maybe this new thing will be something different.
Yeah.
I'm just nervous that again, it's the same thing of like agenda first, quality of story last. That's what I'm worried about. It's like, it's been a lot of things that I've been like excited and hyped up about, and then end up watching it. And I'm like, man, they're really just, the writing is cheesy, but they're really pushing home this agenda.
After what happened with Star Wars, the fucking travesty that was, I just stopped caring about that stuff.
Yeah.
It's the same like viewpoint I've had with most things I watch now. It's like, oh man, that looks cool. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
It's like, was it good? It's like, it was okay, or I didn't really like it, but whatever.
Right.
And I mean, that's been it.
Or right. And I'm not saying I think I'm very I'd say I'm pretty nonchalant about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the sequel Star Wars that you're referring to.
Yeah.
And I didn't like them. Did I get kind of frustrated about it? Maybe a little bit. But am I losing sleep over it? No. It just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of how I am. And I think that's same thing with the Rings of Power. Right. I'm sad. I think I'm not even sad about the show. The show is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm more upset about I'm more sad about Tolkien.
Yeah.
And the whole just erasing him from history in a way. I'm like, that's sad. I think you should honor him and, at least pay homage.
I mean, there's no way anybody's going to forget the guy.
No, you're right. But what I'm saying is, again, we're making something new. We're bringing him back up. And it's just to hear the people making the show really talk about how it really trying to take him down a peg.
No, I mean, it's the same thing that happened at the fucking Halo show.
Oh my God, dude. That's
I will
hard.
Forever to this day say that it should have been a Mass Effect show because that's what it felt like.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
It should not have been called Halo.
Interesting.
It played out more like Mass Effect than I feel like if it was Mass Effect, people would have been over the moon about it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I actually never watched any of it, but
yeah, man, it's just fucking
yeah. That was. I remember hearing stories about it. I was like, man, that sounds hard to watch.
Yeah.
From a Halo perspective.
Yeah. I don't know. There were parts I enjoyed, but
yeah,
I don't know. As a whole, I don't think I could have finished the whole thing.
Right. So it's what it is. It's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, there are some. Like I said, I haven't watched it, but I've heard mixed reviews from people, as you would imagine from anything nowadays. But I heard the Fallout show from people that I respect their opinions, and that also are big fans of Fallout. Mm-hmm. They had their kind of gripes about it, but I was
as a whole, I don't think anybody really called it out as a stinker. I thought it was pretty well received.
I haven't watched it, but I've heard a lot of great stuff about it. I've heard a lot of great stuff about the from the aspect of they took it and made it their own, but they were able to honor the source material and make it feel like it was in universe and make it feel like it was part of the Fallout world, having a female lead character, having a person of color as a lead character, having a ghoul character, like having this kind of fun ragtag band of misfits and and making it modern.
It felt appropriate for the setting too.
Exactly. So I'm I don't know, there's ways to do it. I think it's just I don't know, honoring the source material, making it your own, creating a good story, and then trying to fulfill your fantasies or whatever. Then that's what I think it's potentially a little bit different. But
yeah.
So, anyways, enough about all that stuff. I'm excited. We got some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Maybe there's a cool Tron movie in our future, which is kind of cool to hear about.
Maybe
kind of weird, but yeah. Went down a bit of a rabbit hole there. Yeah, I'm having a hard time figuring out how I'm going to get out. But
I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty good endpoint.
Yeah. Nice little bow on top. This is actually much longer of an episode than I thought it was going to be.
Are you for real?
Yeah. An hour and 18 minutes now.
Jesus.
So,
Yeah.
I
think that'll do.
I hope you guys enjoy listening to this podcast. I, like I said, with me going on this trip, I didn't feel like really getting too in the weeds with watching an episode. I thought this was going to be a quick one, and then I opened a can of worms that I feel like I had a hard time getting back in the can. So apologize for that. But if you can go on to YouTube and type in @Hindsight Studios, you can find our podcast there, and I would appreciate if you were to subscribe to that channel. Give our videos a like and give some comments. Ethan just recently released what he called the Whiskey Olympics, which I thought was clever. Dylan and I were both on that episode with obviously Ethan hosting, and Cade was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, longtime friend of the show. And I think it was a fun time. I think there's a few people that have actually listened to Aftermath also listened to that episode and had a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and give that episode some love. It should be on the channel as well.
Right.
It was really interesting. We had, what was it, 8 different whiskeys that we all sat down and
8 in total.
We
did taste tests for.
Exactly. And
chugged every single one of those fuckers.
Yeah, I mean you ate that. Well,
I don't want to waste nothing.
Nah, dude. And that was really fun, and I hope to do something like that again. I think that'd be really cool. But anyways, like I said before, I appreciate you guys listening to this episode. About to go on a little trip.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to get Ethan back on here, hoping to finish up Ghost in the Shell Arise. And there's other shows that I want to watch, other movies that I would like to watch for this podcast specifically. The Boy in the Huron.
Oh yeah,
I have that written down because I really want to watch that so badly, especially like the English dub, because I want to hear Willem Dafoe again in a Ghibli film. I don't think that'd be really fun. Anyway,
Dafoe jump scare.
Yeah. So, anyways, thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you back again next week.
Indeed. Goodbye.
Good night. Good luck, and goodbye.